would say he's Knoxville's most influential afternoon co-host for sure.
When it comes to sports talk radio, man, you got that it factor, just like some players have it on the field or on the court, dude.
Yeah, exactly. 26 points in 28 minutes. I hate that, man. He's the reason the Wizards are going golfing tomorrow.
I appreciate the fact that you take both sides of the situation and really make people think about it.
Well, you're right. There's nothing more rattling than a well-established press. That can change everything in a game, and that's what West Virginia has, and we've obviously seen it so far this March. And let me tell you something to scare you Spurs fans even more. This is not just a one-time injury. I mean, he hurt it in the Houston series. We saw that. And then in literally back-to-back scenarios, back-to-back plays, back-to-back possessions yesterday, we saw Kawhi twist the same ankle. And then that box out by Zaza Pachulia, which was arguably a dirty play. We can talk about that later. That was the final straw. It comes down on that same ankle, and he couldn't do it. It's a reoccurring injury for him, and if he dresses for game 2, it's going to be very limited minutes.
Sports Radio, Knoxville.com, FoxSportsKnoxville.com. Jordan Dajani has a game preview up. Scoring in bunches. Purdue has averaged 102 points per game, and they've played 4 games.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the biggest problems that I'm looking at is that, first off, Purdue has played double the amount of games as Tennessee, and they've actually played a formidable opponent in Marquette. To average 102 points per game, I think that's 6th in the nation right now. And just last week against Fairfield, they hit their climax almost. They had 13 three-pointers in the first half, on their way to a school record 19 three-pointers made against Fairfield. And while you probably are wondering Fairfield's a pushover, they weren't. They came into this matchup against Purdue allowing just an average of 62 points a game. Purdue put up 58 in the first half.
Is this new redshirt rule that is up for discussion that Butch Jones, Tennessee's head coach, has been in favor of, apparently. Being proposed by the American Football Coaches Association. And it wants to allow players to play up to 4 games in one season without losing a year of eligibility, which means players can appeal in 4 games between the regular season and the postseason and still be redshirted and have 4 full years of eligibility remaining. There's about 10 players on Tennessee that played in 4 or less games. All those guys have an extra year of eligibility. That affects your roster size, scholarships. On top of that, there's going to be discussions whether this guy can accept that red shirt from the coach, and if he doesn't want to, he transfers. That's very common on every single team every single year, and this new rule is just going to make it worse.
What if Gonzaga can go toe-to-toe in the paint with UNC? A lot of people think that they can.
It's going to be a battle for sure, but like I said, when you establish tempo with your bigs, you're dominating the glass. You're not going to do that against UNC. UNC is going to have the tempo of the game. And then the other part is, well, Gonzaga's been prone to letting their opponents go on big runs. You can't let UNC ever do that because they're the first team you're facing in March that can actually close you out.
Now listen, I've lived in Raleigh, Chapel Hill, and Durham. NC State territory, Tar Heel territory, and Duke territory. There have been rumors about this foul play since, literally forever. And it has been going on for almost 2 decades now. 4 employees fired, 5 employees reprimanded. Kenneth Weinstein's 8-month investigation report into fake classes was thrown completely to the wayside. A teacher was paid $12,000 to teach a non-existent class. Mary Willingham, the academic tutor hired to assist student-athletes, went to the national media, CNN, to express her concerns about the university. All of this was not able to take down UNC. This is the death of the NCAA. We will look back at this as the occurrence that really changed things with the NCAA. They, as an institution, deserve the death penalty. They played conservatively and punted even after millions of dollars in legal fees were spent. The journalists in North Carolina outworked the NCAA by far at their job. Stuart Mandel said it best in that in the biggest academic fraud case in NCAA history, UNC successfully convinced the Committee on Infractions that none of it violated the NCAA rules. It is a travesty.